Okay, welcome to this episode. Today I'm going to be making the rock guards for the camper. This is one I made yesterday. Yeah. And that's what we made it out of. It's just 1/8 polished diamond plate. This was $187 for these two sheets together. That's Canadian dollars. Yeah. So yeah, I'll show you how we did it. It was pretty simple. I think it takes all of probably an hour or two there. But basically just work out. I'll show you the template here. We'll start with that. So this is the template I used. Out of a trusty Amazon box. So you want to measure what you're actually covering. I added extra inch this way and probably about an extra couple of inches to the side. It just depends what you want to do. Then the part we bend down, that was decided pretty much by the corners here I got. These corners come from e-trailer. I'll put them up. They're normally like trim edges corners for actual moldings for the campers, like on the edges, not usually for this. They seem to be like an ABS plastic, pretty strong. So yeah, the depth was decided by this. This is pretty close to 1.5 inches, so that's what we did there. And that's what decides this part here, so I just added 1.5 inches to each of my first measurement. And then the corners are pretty much just kind of put in there. I kind of just trace. You want to leave enough overlap here and here for when you do the rivets. You don't want to be short. Like, see the riveted there, so you want to leave enough overlap so you have something to go through. I think I was a bit close on that one, but they still grab. So you just got to remember that. Yeah, so once you get your template, cut that out. You should be good to go to trace it onto here. I leave the blue plastic on. Kind of helps protect the nice polished side, you don't scratch it up. I just whack my template on top and I'll trace it. I'll show you how we do that. Okay, with the template, once you've got your template sorted, I put the aluminum sheet against a straight edge and then just put my template against it. That kind of helps me line it up. Don't worry if it's a little out. If the blue plastic has a bunch of oil on, like I had in this corner, I just kind of pulled it back and traced straight onto the sheet. Here it's still stuck and it's still ain't got oil on it, so I'll leave it. But if it does, just peel it back so you can actually mark it with a Sharpie and that. And that's what it should look like. Still double check with these, I pull one of these out, but you can still kind of double check and light, because this arc will go like about there. Make sure you kind of have enough overlap where your lines are, if you can understand that. It's because this will be, once these are folded down here, this is where it'll rivet to. So yeah, next we'll cut it. We just cut it with a cutting disc. If you can cut it with tin snips, I found it easier just with a grinder cutting disc, and that does it pretty easy and fast. If you got another way to cut it that way. Yeah, it doesn't take too long to get those out. So you just clamp it to something. If you've got a trailer, it's pretty handy to clamp to, use as a workbench. Try and get these kind of sharpish, like, because you're going to be bending there, you don't want kind of a rounded piece left in there. It took all of like 6 minutes to do those. So next, I'm going to use my trailer again to clamp. We're going to measure in the 1.5 inch there, or what do you end up measuring the depth of these at there. Basically just slightly under 1.5 inch. Make a mark there, and then I'm just going to line it up with the edge of this. I'll show you. This board will go right on the edge of the mark of where I put it, where I want to bend it, and then basically we just clamp it to the trailer, and I'm going to use the angle here to bend it and hammer it. We just move along hammering it back and forth, not just one big bend, you kind of tap it, but we'll show you that. I'll get it clamped and show you, but yeah, measure in, sit this on the edge where you put your mark, where you want it, where the bend is going to occur, then clamp it with your vice grips clamps there to whatever you can. If you don't have a trailer, your workbench or something, but you need an edge to be bending over, this is handy. So if you've got a trailer, it works. If you've got haven't got that, then just try and find something that you can hammer and bend the edge over. But we'll get this done and we'll show you what that looks like. Okay, let's see if we can show you here. So if you can see our little Sharpie mark there, there's one up at that end. So we line the board wherever to the edge of wherever you marked your, just under 1.5, and then this sits like, you pretty much line it up as best you can right to the edge. We're going to use that edge to bend over, and so we're just going to hammer it. See if I can set this up and show you. It doesn't take too long. So you just want to tap it along, not bend it right over straight away, and then just come back doing little bits at a time until it's right over. Yeah, so as you can see, it doesn't take too long. You just want to go along until you feel like you've got a little bit of the most of the ripples out. Just go over it and tap a few more times. And that's what it looks like. Really good straight edge. So we just continue going around. Do that for the other 3 sides, and then we'll be on to putting the corners on here. Okay, all the edges are bent. Now you will need to pull back if you still left the protective covering on. Just pull it back a bit for these guys to sit in there. They do sit higher because they do have that kind of moulding rounded part, but the rivet will pull them down a bit. This 3/16 drill bit is what I'm using. 3/16 or 5mm diameter rivet. These are a bit long, these are 12mm long, 1/2 inch, but you could go shorter if it's under 10. This is what I just have kicking around. Saves me going into town right now, so you could probably go down to, probably shorten them down to 8mm or something like that. I'd still probably go 3/16 though, or 5mm for the diameter. They fit through there nicely. we're going to put the two, first we put the one through the side here, we'll drill one hole, rivet that, then do the other one, drill, and then we do the top ones, and making sure that it sits straight. Again, it won't sit flat at the top. You see on these ones, it does suck it down a bit, but it does leave it raised, but I'm not too worried about that. It still looks really good. So yeah, we'll get into that. Okay, so that's the first two. We'll sit up the top. Once they suck down, once the rivets in, suck down. Just remember to leave enough in here when you're positioning them. That's what I mean, to make sure you still got enough to drill through and put the rivet through. That's the first one done. So it's quite a quick, simple process. Basic tools. So just repeat that for the other three corners. Again, just making sure that you have overlapped your corner so you can drill through and grab it with the rivet. The top's not too bad. You've got a bit enough meat in that, but yeah, we'll do those and then we'll move on. Okay, so back to making these stone guards, rock chip guards for the window. Worked out a way to use the old ones, which will involve, that used to be the top, which will now connect straight to the actual guards here. I've got a 3-foot piece of, what is that, 1/16 by 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch. I'm going to take out these two rivets here, and then we'll just put that in like that, and I'll re-rivet it there, and I'll chuck a couple other rivets in. And then the older piece, I will cut this lower piece off, and then it'll just get riveted straight in. I think, yeah, otherwise it's too high. If I just put it in like that, I could have riveted it straight like that, but it's too high. So I kind of want it sitting down. I want the hinge itself sitting closer to the actual guard, so I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So I'll take those out, get this other piece in. I will cut this angled piece off. I think I'll cut it down. Just cut that little extra piece off at the bottom here, along the edge here, just make it even, tidy it up. Then I'm going to paint these black, kind of blend in with the rest of the camper. Okay, so I painted our hinges yesterday. I mounted that one on. So we cut off that angle. It was in there. So you make it flat. So then it just sits flat like this. Just put it on like that. Just rivet it. Using, what do they say? I think it's 3/16. 5 mil. They're about ½ inch long, 10 mil. 5 mil long. There. I space mine my hinge is about 33 inches long, and I put them every 4 inches. Make sure they hold. So then they should fold up enough. So this used to be, the top part used to be the frame of the old rock guard. So it's been reversed. So I've had to just drill the holes in there so I get the screws through the screw head, and then that'll hold flat against the actual camper. There, so that should work. That's pretty simple. Go back this other one on, and then we're ready to mount it up on the camper. Okay, one more thing to finish it off. We're going to put the edging around. It's just the edge trim. You get it off Amazon. Just want to make sure it's the thickness of your metal or whatever you're doing on. We're using 1/8, so this goes from 1/8 to a little bit bigger. There. So yeah, I just kind of start there. Just push it on. It's pretty easy. Just go all the way around to the other side. And yeah, as you look like this one. Just finishes it off and takes off that sharp edge. So if it is sitting against your camper, it's not going to scratch it. So yeah, okay, get that on, and then yeah, and chuck them up. Okay, so I've got them mounted up there with our old hinges. It worked pretty good in the end, so it saved us a couple $100. I'm just trying to work out the hinges here. So these are the Airstream ones that I bought offline, vintage Airstream parts. So I'll find the site, chuck it up there. But what I've done is this one here. So this is how they come, but they don't work. If I screw that to like that, then this ends up being backwards for me. So I want that catch to be like that. I'll have to put a block in here somewhere so the pin actually catches there. Because yeah, it'll stand off, as you can see. So I'll have to screw a block on there so I can lock in. But yeah, I'm just drilling the rivets out of these ones and then flipping them over like this, and then you see then they'll mount like that, and I can sit that flat against here. But I'm just trying to work out, I think I've got to kind of mount it here. These are fairly light, so they'll hold the angle just kind of in there, and then mount this just about there on my ones. It'll be different for yours probably, just because everyone's window's a little bit different, but you can work it out. But yeah, keep on working on these. But yeah, just showed you, wanted to show you how I've turned that, taken the rivet out and then just flipped it over to the other side. So instead of being on the channel side, yeah, those are on the channel side. I want mine to be flat. Okay, got the hinges on, or the struts, what do you want to call them. I placed mine about 3.5 inches down from the plastic corners. Seems to work. These are so light, they hold up pretty well. These, the very bottom of it, I lined it up with the bottom of here. Like I say, yours will probably be different, but they do look pretty good. I still have to just work out the blocking for these. I'll chuck this one down. Yes, I just got to work out the blocking still. I think I'll just end up putting something on here and then just screwing it to it. Try and get a piece of aluminum or something like that. So you can just screw it, kind of doesn't look too shitty. Yeah, I had to offset these just because the way it doesn't interfere with them holding, like how they're held up there, but just so these still work. I went lower than higher on this one, so it's going to work that out once I get that there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just going to take a day to think about that on what I'm going to do. I think it'd be some kind of, like I say, block of aluminum in there. But then we're almost done. Okay, so we got this about a 3 foot length of this 3/4 by 3/4 inch square box aluminum. I've done these ones up already, made them like 1.5 inch, and then just drill a hole in the side there. Just make sure that you have enough space to fit that in. I just had to move this one over just a smidge, but this is pretty much how they're going to go on. Just drill them from the inside, so you can see over here. Just drill it from the inside, rivet from the inside, and that keeps it clean. And then just drill your hole for your pin to lock in, and that. I'll just let you decide what hole you want to put in. Whether you want to loose or all tied up here, I'll put it loose there, but yeah, I'll get this one on, and that's pretty much it done. Easy peasy. Okay, so that's it done. I've got a little bits of locking in there that work pretty well. Like I say, just make sure when you screw them down the bottom here that you've got enough space. If you're going to lock in like that, get the pins, chuck them up here and give you a look, show you what they look like up. So that's what they look like up. You can place these pretty close up as long as you're building out of the 1/8 aluminum. They do come out pretty good. So I'll give you a better. I'll put on pricing for these parts here. Kind of what I pay for the aluminum. It's going to be different for the aluminum wherever you are. Trim off Amazon, we'll chuck that on there too. But no, so call that good for now. I think that worked out pretty well. Fairly easy to make. So give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, and we'll catch you later.